Hello again, my name's Gabe Zolna. What did I hear? Oh, I know. The chosen one, Barack Hussein Obama, you know, the Manchurian candidate, the radical extremist, Islamic, homosexual, Arab, Muslim, hanging out at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Well, if you've been a viewer of mine, I have said it countless times. What Obama has done is he's reversed the roles. You know, when there were slaves, what he's done is he's enslaved the American people as his way of retribution against the whites and most American people. He's looking after those that are illegals, and he's punishing those that are legals. One of the new things that apparently he's in the process of doing is taking out his pen. Well, he's taking it for a couple of reasons. One, he's going to sign the new Department of Homeland Security funding bill that our dysfunctional Republican Party went ahead and gave him. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of research. I want to find if I can determine which Republicans, both in the House and in the Senate, went ahead and voted for funding that program. And when I find, if I find who they are, I'm going to turn it into video. And I'm going to ask all of my viewers that are Republicans to make certain that none of them get reelected, assuming that there is another election, which I sort of doubt there ever will be. What Obama's going to do in the interim is he's going to use his pen not only to sign the law to fund DHS, but also to tax the American people in his creative ways of doing so. He's going to use an executive order. Now, we were told that only the House of Representatives can tax the American people. We know that's not true because Harry Reid was the one that went ahead and took a bill. The bill that was sent from the House of Representatives, that was approved by the House of Representatives, was a bill to reduce the taxes on military housing. And what Harry Reid did when he received this approved bill, he removed all the documents inside that bill and replaced it with Obamacare. And I've made countless videos on this, and I've said that the Speaker, John Boehner, should have protested at that time by saying, hey Harry, that isn't what we gave you. We gave you a bill for military housing, a credit, not a debit. And what you did is you removed those documents, but that never happened. If I'm not mistaken, the courts were to look into that as well, but that also never happened. You notice how nothing good ever happens for the American people? The only thing that happens is bad. Now, once again, Obama got away with taxing the American people through the Senate. And now he's going to tax the American people through executive order. What happens is when you give someone a little power by letting them get away with a crime, then they continue to commit crimes. I don't know how he's going to tax. What I do believe is that he will tax. Think not? Well, you're entitled to your own opinion. All I'm doing is going off of what's being reported, which is that he's coming up with some creative ways, and we're soon going to see, as he signs executive orders taxing the American people. Once again, he's reversed the game. He's turned us into slaves. Only 13% of the population is black. And I don't know what percentage of them pay taxes, but I assume that it's rather low. So again, the ones that are going to really be impacted by his new executive order aren't the blacks, aren't the illegals, are the whites. Something else you might want to sort of think about, and I did make mention of this, with his immigration reform that the Republican-controlled Senate, Republican-controlled House just approved. Well, you know that 18 plus trillion? Watch that clock start to spin. Watch it start to spin like the propellers or the blades of a supercharged airplane, a turboprop. You know that $20 trillion number that was given to us that said that once we exceed that, there'll be no return to sanity in this country? Well, he's going to blow by that. Probably within the next year, if not sooner. And who do we want to thank for this? Well, our members of Congress. Who do we not want to thank for this? Well, there's really no one to thank, not to thank for this. The American people did the best that they could by giving the Republicans control of the Senate. And what did they do with it? They abused that privilege. And once again, if you're a new viewer of mine, the midterms, where the people gave the Republicans control of both the Senate and maintained the House, was the second most expensive election in this country's history. What a terrible waste of money. Huh? Republicans aren't worth a squat. They have no one, absolutely no one, that's worthy of being in the Oval Office. Ted Cruz is a Canadian. He doesn't qualify. Marco Rubio doesn't qualify because his mommy and daddy were Cuban citizens until he was 4 or 5 years old. Who qualifies? Chris Christie? The guy's a complete joke. Jeb Bush, there's a real winner for you, huh? We've had enough of the Bushes. Who would you bet has a snowball's chance of hell on the Republican side of the fence that's really electable? There is no one. There's absolutely no one worthy of holding the Oval Office on the Republican side. On the Democratic side, PSP is a complete joke. She's a criminal. She needs to be held accountable for her crimes, but she won't be held accountable. Elections no longer matter. They haven't for a long time. Obama, in the last election, from what I've read, took about 125% of the vote. How do you do that? Well, that's a different story. I told you what I think. So what do you think?